Hey friends, guys, as you all might be knowing, whenever a company is planning for an expansion or it requires huge funds for investments, one of the ways the company does it is through the IPO, that is initial public offering. Through this, whenever corporations want to raise funds for the first time, they just give away a part of their ownership in a particular company to raise funds. So, whenever a mutual fund house wants to launch a new scheme, they come up with a public offering which is just like an IPO. This public offering by the respective mutual fund house is known as new fund offer or more likely an NFO. It is important for investors to know that NFO is similar to IPO but it's not an IPO. As for the IPO at the time of listing, higher demand might fetch you healthy listing gains, but this is not the case with NFO. The NAV or the net asset value of the mutual fund do not depend on the supply or demand of the NAV. Guys, we are having two NFOs this week, the Kotak Business Cycle Fund and the Axis Silver Fund of Fund. The first NFO we are going to talk about is Kotak Business Cycle Fund. So the benchmark for this fund is the Nifty 500 Total Return Index. The fund managers are Mr. Pankaj Tibrewal for equity portion and Mr. Abhishek Bisen for debt portion. The minimum investment amount would be Rs 5,000 and any amount thereafter. The NFO open and close dates are 7th September to 21st of September 2022. Okay, let's talk about the fund now. So Kotak Business Cycle Fund will try to generate returns through sector rotation and broader economic outlook. The funds will primarily invest in shares of the companies. Kotak Business Cycle Fund's philosophy is based on the fact that every industry goes through ups and downs. By playing these fluctuations of booms and bust right, Kotak Business Cycle Fund aims to generate returns for its investors. Let us understand it with the help of the banking sector example. Guys, you would be easily able to understand this because we are currently witnessing a part of this cycle. So, lower interest rates encourage businesses and people to borrow more. This in turn leads to more spending and more employment and thus leads to an economic boom. To cool down the economy, central banks increase the interest rates, which increases the EMIs people have to pay. So they had to cut down their spending and the economy started to slow down. In this phase, the growth too would slow down. To stimulate growth, the central bank would cut interest rates and the cycle continues. So Kotak Business Cycle Fund aims to utilize these sector and business cycles. It would likely buy stocks in the banking sector when the interest rates would start coming down and the credit growth starts to pick up to fully capture the returns generated when the economy and credit growth pick up pace. Similarly, such cycles are present in all industries from cement to energy, which the fund aims to exploit to generate higher returns for its investors. Guys, here are some examples from past cycles. Now, the biggest risk associated with this fund is misjudging the business cycle and investing in the wrong trend. Guys, if this happens, the investors not only lose money in terms of lower NAV, but also in terms of the opportunity cost of missing out on capturing the upward trend in the right sector. Apart from that, being a top-down fund, investing in sector-specific stocks, it is possible that the fund allocates a higher percentage in a particular sector. Too much concentration in a sector exposes the funds to higher risk. These points make the scheme suitable for investors who can take very high risk. From the table on the screen now, you can check the performance of some of the other schemes by this Kotak Mutual Fund. You can also now see the education, the past experience and the other schemes under management of the fund managers of this scheme. Alright, so the next NFO we're going to talk about is the Axis Silver Fund of Fund. So the benchmark for this fund is the domestic price of silver. The fund manager is Mr. Aditya Pagaria. The minimum investment amount is Rs 5,000 and any amount thereafter. And the NFO open and close dates would be 2nd of September to 15th of September 2022. Alright, let's talk about the fund now. So as the name suggests, Axis Silver FOF will primarily invest in silver. It will do so through the Axis Silver ETF. There would be very little active investing involved as the fund would be holding a minimum of 95% of its fund in Axis Silver ETF. Some of the key drivers of silver prices are industrial output, economic outlook, supply and demand, inflation and interest rates. Silver can act as a great addition to the portfolio and can help in the diversification of assets away from the widely invested equities and debt. Guys, in the past, silver has been a great hedge to downturns caused by outlier events like COVID-19 and the 2007-2008 global financial crisis. As you can see from the chart, silver performed better than Nifty 50 on all the three occasions of the severe financial downturns in the past years and the recent ones too. The issue with investing in a fund of fund is the double fees which the investors have to pay. While the management fee of FOF would be low, still investors have to bear the fee of both the underlying silver ETF as well as the silver FOF. Apart from that, compared to the gold, the market of silver is smaller. This can make the price of silver relatively more volatile. The smaller market also increases the risk of illiquidity. Silver is also widely used in industries, making silver more vulnerable during economic downturns. The scheme is suitable for investors who can bear moderately high risk. From the table on the screen now, guys, you can check the performance of some of the other schemes by Axis Mutual Fund. Now you can also see the education, the past experience and the total schemes under management by the fund manager. So guys, we have come to the conclusion now. So these were the 2 NFOs which are open for subscription and soon would get closed. Guys, please note that this is not a fund recommendation. This video was purely for informational purposes. If you like this video, please hit the like button and please do not forget to share. We bring such quality content for you on a regular basis. So to receive more updates related to the mutual funds, please do not forget to subscribe to the Groww's Mutual Fund channel. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. Please read the risk disclosure documents carefully before investing in equity shares, derivatives, mutual fund, and/or other instruments traded on the stock exchanges.